Now, our very first story, as the water shortage in parts of Accra continues, more residents are finding alternative means to get potable water. Children have been particularly affected as they are made to sacrifice their sleep and miss classes in some cases just to get water for their house. Joynews' Dr. Sankuma reports some schools have even had to bring their midterm break forward to help ease the water shortage on the children.
It's 8 a.m. on a Thursday in Accra. Ideally, these children should be in the classrooms, but they are not. At Commando, a suburb of Accra New Town, they queue for hours to get water due to a shortage in water supply in parts of the capital. They say the situation is affecting their academic work. Priscilla Duce has not been to school since Wednesday. She joined this queue as early as 6 a.m., a time she could have used to prepare for school. Instead, she is stuck here with the hope of getting some water for her mother to use for her porridge business.
Today, I won't go to school because of the water. We'll be selling porridge, so if I'm not able to fetch the water, I will get a little money to go to school. At the same time, it will affect I and my family too. School is very important, and at the same time, the water is also important. So the best way, at least, I have Friday, so I will fetch it today, and tomorrow too, I'll go to school.
Priscilla is not alone. These children are equally affected by the situation.
We came here since dawn time. We are not getting water to fetch. Now it's like we have made line around, but still the water is even getting finished by now.
Our school are giving us meeting because of the water shortage. I'm telling them to give us the water so that we can be able to fetch water and then go to school.
There's no water at home for me to bath to go to school. That's why I'm at home to get some water from my parents.
At Abeka Junction, we chanced upon another queue, this time in the middle of the Achimota Accra Highway, where a desperate group was tapping from this pipe used to water the grass. Obviously, their safety was not of paramount concern.
Pipe mutuya na ama yebegunso ya pipe ya papa nti ya tu area mu ano a had eba because I main line ya ni so many years kura ni nyina yebu a nti
Here too, children had to forgo school to search for water.
There's no water in the house, so I'm going to fetch water to get back to school, but because the line is too much, so I did not go to school today.
Because of the water, there is no water in the house, so I want water for my parents.
Parents who had queued at both places appealed to the water company to rectify the situation as soon as possible.
Your government chose bra no beboy na nsuo yentimi dware yentimi num ye bre because in the 4 days wallahi nya asam kiswa na ye we nkofo bre ya gidi se niam no mu siesie bia pipe no mba bia man
jomama onye eboni bia pipe enyo no otumu ye pani chose asem wo mboa ye ne onye ne ye man.
Meanwhile, at Kwabenya ACP Junction, residents and business owners are resorting to the use of wastewater from a sachet water manufacturing company in that area. In an interview off camera, authorities of Royal Nsupa Limited said the pipe containing the wastewater was laid at the base of this gutter, but due to the scarcity of water in the area, residents have managed to pull out the pipe and are collecting the wastewater. The residents and business owners, however, say they use the wastewater for doing their laundry and dishes. This is Dr. Sankuma's report for Joynews, Accra.
Now, the acute water shortage that has hit parts of Accra is feared might cause an outbreak of waterborne disease as people are having to rely on water from all sorts of sources for their daily activities, as you heard in the report that just aired. The Ghana Health Service is therefore warning the public to treat water properly by boiling or filtering before using it, and also to be wary of the food they patronize outside.
An acute water shortage has hit parts of Accra, compelling residents to walk long distances, while others join long winding queues at various places for water. The shortage, which started 4 days ago, has caused considerably inconvenience to people who spend many hours searching for water. But in the midst of all these struggles is how wholesome the water currently available to residents is. Most residents of the capital have now resorted to all means, from dug-out wells to water tanker providers. Some food vendors who spoke to the news team off camera said they have had to rely on sachet water or water tankers to prepare their meals. They could not confirm as to how wholesome the water from the water tanker providers is, but indicated they had no option but to use them in the preparation of their meal.
The water you take in, either through drinking or in cooking, must be wholesome, which means that you should make sure that that water is free of disease. So I would like to entreat them that boil the water if you are not sure of the source, and if you see that it doesn't look so well and you cannot buy water that has already been treated, then boil it, cool it before drinking.
It is estimated that about 84,000 Ghanaians die every year from waterborne diseases, and it is feared the current shortage could lead to a major outbreak of diseases.
If anybody comes down with diarrhea, that is passing loose stools or more stools than you normally do, it will be necessary to go straight to a health facility to be seen and treated. It's very important that whatever you eat, you are careful of it. So if you're going to buy food to eat, first of all, look at the environment, the surrounding in which the food is being sold. Look at the water that is being used to clean the plates, especially for those who sit to eat at the places that they sell the food. Once you are doing this, you should buy water if you have to clean the plates, make them good for the people who are going to buy your food and eat.
However, Water Resource Works and Housing Minister Collins Dauda, who visited the water plant on Wednesday night to assess the extent of repair works on a burst pipeline which has resulted in a water shortage in the western part of Accra, has assured residents of the affected areas that supply should normalize by Thursday morning.
The Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Collins Dauda, says government is working on a long-term plan to solve the country's perennial water supply problems. He has meanwhile assured the current difficulties should be solved by the end of February.
Water, energy, the two basic necessities of life. These two have become the much sought after in Ghana for some time now. It's either power supply is disrupted or water has to be rationed according to a certain schedule.
It is very, very clear that in the past we've also had challenges with the vandalization of pipelines across the country. It is up to the board to help make sure that we can come up with strategies to ensure that the pipelines are protected.
Energy and water have become the core message of politicians, a message that runs through every manifesto of political parties seeking power. However, the picture doesn't seem to change. The same problem recurring regime after regime with no permanent solution in sight. One reason or the other has been attributed to the perennial energy disruption in the country. It's either caused by shortage of gas and financial difficulties of the VRA, which makes it difficult to procure the right quantities of crude oil and diesel to bring all their plants into operation, or the crisis was caused by low levels of water in the Akosombo Dam.
During our period in office, the lake failed, because of the periodic drought that it has gone through. With the failure of the lake meant that our biggest generating source had actually failed, was now in a position not to be able to deliver any power at all.
When somebody tells you we have generated an extra 376 capacity and it's unprecedented, it is not the truth.
People have been in power for 8 years. What did he do? Today they are telling us solution to whatever. What did he do? They rather brought in toys. That never worked. That was not powered. They brought in some plants that never worked.
For the past 6 days, over 70 communities in the Greater Accra and some parts of the Central region have been hit by acute water shortage. This is not new, a very frequent occurrence. People have therefore adopted several means to gain access to water. Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Collins Dauda, says government at the moment is adopting short-term plans to resolve the situation while it plans for a long-term solution.
These interventions include a pond water system that is being built that we expect to be completed at the end of this year. We also have the Atma Rural that is also bringing on board 12.3 million gallons of water a day, and also the desalination plant at Teshi that will also bring in 30 million gallons of water a day. If you put this together, we are going to have about 158 million gallons of water a day at the end of this year.
He adds it is uncertain that the country will ever find a permanent solution.
It's a difficult question. It is our wish as a government that everybody has access to safe, affordable and reliable water. That is the vision of His Excellency the President. But to do it requires a lot of effort, a lot of investment.
Atani, Joynews.
In other news, 3 people died instantly while 2 others sustained injuries after they were trapped in a Galamsey pit at Nyinewusu in the Ikuman-Punya district of the Ashanti region. The 3, a female and 2 males, met the untimely death when the Galamsey pit they were working in caved in. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
The incident, which happened on Monday morning, left residents in the area shocked. Relatives of the deceased wailed at the news of the demise of their relatives. The deceased were identified as Ajay Tavia, 42, Agatha Foriwa, 43, and Yao Entry, 26. Joynews gathered the Galamseyers went to the mining site in search of gold. Unfortunately, the pit under which they were mining caved in on them. 3 died instantly, while 2 people who sustained injuries are responding to treatment. The bodies of the deceased have since been deposited at the morgue.
Government has agreed to proposals to name a street after former Joy FM presenter Komla Afeke Dumor. The Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idris, announced that government has directed the Ketu South District Assembly, where Komla Dumor hailed from, to choose a street for that purpose.
The MP, who is also the Minister of Trade and Industry, was speaking in Parliament on Thursday, where MPs spent time to eulogize Komla Dumor, a former host of Joy FM's flagship program, Super Morning Show.
Mr. Speaker, let me, in joining this tribute to eulogize Komla, confirm that government had decided that the Ketu Municipal Assembly will name a street after Komla Dumor to Ketu Municipal Assembly, working in tandem with our Minister for Local Government, will identify as part of government initiative on the national Ketu South District Assembly. Will work with the Minister for Local Government in identifying and naming a street after the late Komla Dumor.
The Member of Parliament for Domikwabinya, Adjo Asafo, also requested that the street that leads to the residence of the boss player at Hachu should also be named after him.
The representative of the people of Domikwabinya, and since we still have his family home in the constituency, I would want to make a humble appeal to the Minister for Local Government that in this current project of the street naming project, he should at least consider putting Komla Afeke Dumor's name on the road that leads to his family house.
Earlier on, the Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Fifi Kwete, read a tribute on the floor.
Komla, like his grandfather, Philip Beho, was a true Ghanaian and a passionate African. He had such an infectious enthusiasm for his continent, for the story of Africa. His colleagues at BBC attest that Komla played a singular role in transforming the coverage of Africa, not only for the BBC, but across broadcasting in general. Africa's energy and enthusiasm shone through every story Komla told. Nelson Mandela's daughter, aptly described Komla as a shining star of Africa, a beacon of Africa's warmth and sunshine, a quintessential African. Mr. Speaker, Komla Dumor continues to be a great mentor and an inspiration to all young people in Ghana and Africa. Even though he left us at the prime age of 41, he has left behind a legacy worthy of inspiration and emulation. His successes and achievements, far from being limited to himself, should be viewed as the potencies dormant in all our youth, capacities our young people can harness in our quest to bring a transformation to our dear country and continent.
The leadership also recounted their fondest memories of the late Komla Dumor.
If there is anybody whose transition could aptly be described as gone too soon, Komla Dumor says it is one that fits that epitaph.
The last time I met him was when he was last in Ghana. And I asked him why he didn't stay at Bush House and chose to move. And the joke he cracked was that the bushes were too high in Bush House. And that is very typical of Komla Dumor as I've known him.
A 1-minute silence was observed for the late journalist. He was survived by a wife and 3 children.
So self-important. Said I'd see you soon, but that was all maybe a year.
Right, so there you have it. We'll be bringing you extensive coverage of the final funeral rites for the late BBC broadcaster and Joy FM presenter, former Joy FM presenter, right here on Joynews on Multi-TV. Starts from tomorrow, Friday through Saturday, and then on to Sunday. In other news, or staying with Parliament, the Member of Parliament for Timor West has called for a reconstitution of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Works and Housing, investigating the recent demolition of homes at Ajekojo in Tema. She also refuted suggestions by Chairman of the committee. She refused to attend the committee's meeting with the Tema Development Corporation on Wednesday.
Ask the Speaker to really look at the committee that has been set up and then put in another group, because the first point of call is they erred in doing that. They have not seen the people and they have not heard from them. You're looking at documents from TDC. Why don't you look at documents from the people? Why don't you look at documents from the chiefs? Perhaps if you see them, the chiefs have a document and they're trying to prove that the area which Kwame Nkrumah bought does not cover that particular area. So you see, there are issues that one needs to look at. But for you to be tasked to do something, investigate, and immediately you can come out and say, I condone this and that, you're not a fair person. There's no way you can be fair. In fact, I was very worried when I heard one of the chairman of the Works and Housing Committee say he was disappointed I didn't attend. The exercise that they were asked or tasked to perform is not to investigate Natoshi, it's to investigate the demolition of Ajekojo by TDC. So I am not the subject matter. I can decide to come or not to come. Indeed, a week ago, they told me that when TDC is there, I shouldn't come there, and that they will call me to present the case of my people, because they don't want me to fight the TDC. And I said, okay, but in any case, you call me. When I'm free, I'll come. So it's not as if the committee gave me notice that today I'm supposed to come in or maybe cross-examine, or it wasn't anything like that. I was in a meeting when I was told that TDC has come, so if you're free, please come up. And I said I was in a meeting. But again,
we're taking a break. We have more news coming up. Don't go away. The Coalition on the Right to Information, Ghana, says it is opposed to the passage of the current Right to Information Bill before Parliament. The coalition is thus appealing to Parliament not to pass the bill into law. until some sections of the bill deemed to make the acquisition of information very difficult and cumbersome are revised.
Key among the many recommendations the Coalition on the Right to Information Ghana is seeking Parliament to reconsider before passing the current Right to Information Bill into law includes the time frame as to when the public can have access to information from public officials.
The timelines in the bill are way too long. It can take almost half a year between the time a person makes an application requesting for particular information to the time when it is given the information, and it doesn't make sense at all in this modern world. The bureaucrat or the information officer will use the law, if he wants to prove difficult, to, delay the time that he gives you the information with the result that by the time you have the information, it's of no use to you.
Legal practitioner and a member of the coalition, Akoto Ampao, also indicated there was the need to change sections 5 and 6 of the bill, which places blanket exemption on accessing information from the office of the president, the vice president and cabinet.
The office of the president under the constitution, our constitution, exercises so widespread and pervasive power that to say that all information there, apart from data and factual figures, are exempt is to completely undermine the right to information law.
He also raised concerns about Clause 19(1) and Clause 23(4)(d) of the bill, which mandates the various government institutions to charge a fee from any person seeking to access information from their institutions.
Section 7C or so of the bill says that all information in the custody of security and intelligence agencies established under the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act are exempt. And again, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to have a provision which says that all such information, the disclosure of which would do serious harm to national security or intelligence work, are exempt. That one makes sense. But to say that all and any information there is exempt doesn't make sense. It means that people cannot even inquire as to the salaries or the payroll of those agencies.
Officials indicated that should Parliament go ahead with the passage of the current Right to Information Bill, it will set a precedent where access to information, which is already a challenge in the country, will become overly very difficult. The one-day workshop on the bill, organized by the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Ghana, brought together media practitioners to share their experiences as to how difficult or easy it has been for them to access information in the course of their work.
The Ghana National Association of Teachers has asked members to turn down transfers if their transportation and transfer grants are not disbursed. The association says the Ghana Education Service is breaching the service agreement by failing to pay teachers their legitimate entitlement. National President Paul Ejeboachi says teacher welfare has been taken for granted in the ongoing rationalization. A report by Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin.
The rationalization program is to transfer teachers from overstaffed schools to places where their services are needed more. NAT commends the exercise, but says any attempt to transfer teachers without corresponding payment of their legitimate right will result in labor unrest.
NAT admits that transfers are the prerogative of the employer, as stipulated in Act 651, Section 8A, and also upheld by GS Collective Agreement with Teachers Unions, Section 2(1). However, honorable members of the press, NAT observes that the employer's right to transfer is regulated by the condition of service of the Ghana Education Service to its employees. Section 1812 of the collective agreement states inter alia, and I quote, "A transfer grant of 2 months' gross salary shall be paid to each member on approved transfer. An employee shall be paid a transfer grant at the appropriate rate where the transfer is at the instance of management, provided it is not on disciplinary grounds, and the transfer results in the change of station as well as movement of household effects."
National President Paul Ajebwache advised the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service against using administrative procedures to compel teachers to accept transfers if their transportation and transfer grants are not paid.
And NAT wants to sound a word of caution to the MOE and Ghana Education Service that in the expected transfers, funds should be secured to pay the legitimate entitlement of the affected teachers to bring about a smooth exercise. Any attempt to transfer teachers without the corresponding payment of the legitimate entitlements will result in a labor unrest. NAT will resist.
He warns the exercise has the potential of getting some teachers demoralized if it is not carefully handled. The association says there's a capacity to avert the looming threat by respecting relevant laws regarding transfers and postings.
There will be a ban on funerals and drumming in the Ashanti region effective March 29 to May 21, 2014. This is to pave way for the performance of the appropriate rituals ahead of the commemoration of the 15th anniversary of the ascension of Asante Hino Tumfose Tutu II onto the Golden Stool. The announcement was made at the celebration of Akwesidai Festival at the Meisha Palace in Kumasi, from where Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin sent this report.
The Akwesidai Festival, which features the golden stool of the Ashanti Kingdom, has the Asante Hene as a center of attraction. Otumfose II was carried in a palanquin on a procession through town, during which he displayed his dexterity in dancing whilst responding to the drummers. There was also a colorful display of canopies and umbrellas by other chiefs attending the festival. The rich sounds of the phantom from drum filled the air, with horn blowers performing in honor of the ancestral spirits. This year's Akwesidai Festival was attended by people from all walks of life. Paramount, divisional and sub-chiefs of Asanteman were also present in their numbers. Some chiefs explained the significance of the festival.
Then the old Dam will be a woman said, and so we are cheaper than any day. Sending our end, yes, we do. They're born of saying now, Pompey, and Sampa, they encounter one and anybody at the tone, so and now about Udia because they're Cassia.
Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
We're staying in the Ashanti region, where the police in Kumasi have rearrested a suspected murderer who escaped from custody while on trial. The suspect, Prince Edu Jemfi, was being transported back to jail after a court hearing when he fled into a bush. The 22-year-old suspect was on trial for his alleged involvement in the killing of a security man last year at Ashford Court Hotel at Bantaman.
Prince Edu Jemfi was rearrested Wednesday night at his hideout at Plaza Hotel at Dichemsu during a special operation. He was arrested together with two teenagers during the raid. Some members of a gang Prince is believed to be associated with were also arrested on Tuesday night at Patasi. They include 17-year-old Augustus Mainu, a second-year agricultural science student of the Oseitu Senior High School, and 19-year-old Rufai Adams. DCOP Augustine Jenin is the outgoing Ashanti Regional Commander.
He is the one who killed the security man at Ashford Hotel, and we were prosecuting and he ran away. By the grace of God, we have been on his trail for the past almost 4 months. But he has been sleeping. And last night we got him because he was on his robbery spree again. So I think this is a very good farewell to me, because I was not feeling happy at all when he was on the run.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
On to some pretty interesting and weird stories. Some students of the Deaf and Dumb School at Bechem in the Tano South District of the Bunahafo region have been demonstrating over what they say has been a failure of the school authorities to feed them. Their inability to chant or sing due to their disability did not stop them from making their case. The students marched to the district assembly where the DC had to implore them to return to school, assuring them he will speak to the authorities. The plight of the students is being blamed on a delay in the release of feeding grants to special schools. The deaf and dumb demonstrators spoke through a sign interpreter.
Different from different story.
Nothing is impossible if you're that determined. Bring you business news next.
Time now for some business reports with me, Abigail Adumakoinchi. Now, customs officials at the Tema port have attributed the consistent delays in clearing goods to the failure of importers to declare the true value of the items. They contend, apart from false valuations of goods which warrant penalties and a review of the items, importers do not report nor submit necessary documents to the port authorities early enough, thereby delaying the entire process.
And exporters often complain about the difficulties in clearing their goods from the ports, mainly due to the long bureaucratic processes they have to go through. The Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana therefore called on the officials at the Tema port to understand and appreciate the processes they take their goods through before clearance. For the association, although they are ready to cooperate and work with customs and other stakeholders, there was the need for them to expedite solutions to the challenges they face.
Some of the charges my office have written to the Ghana Shipping Authority. Some of the shipping agencies or shipping lines are charging evacuation, congestion, port security. Shipping lines shouldn't charge an importer evacuation or washing. Some of the charges are washing of the container. Indeed, if you bring the boxes like what we saw at the examination there, boxes will clear everything. Why should you pay for washing? That is what is happening. We have written to the Shipping Authority and we want them to expedite their action on it and report back to us. Indeed, if they don't, some of the things we can go to court. And that is why we are legalized union for the members.
They maintain scanning of their goods alone at the port could take days, which delays the entire clearance process. But officials in charge contend the scanning process takes averagely about 3 to 4 minutes before reports are processed for the importers to proceed. For them, apart from the need for more scanners at the port, importers also need to help speed up the process.
If you want to examine things in a strictly customs operations way, it will also require a computerized risk management system that would predetermine whether or not the container can be taken from the port, or at the time of its arrival at the port, whether it should be taken to the ICD or not. Unfortunately, it is based on the principle that people will declare the true and accurate values for valuation purposes. Our reality is that people, more often than not, do not do that. So that is what creates the problem, whereby you have to get to the point of almost getting your goods, then you have to go and start the process all over again.
It's not bureaucracy as such, but because they've not put themselves, they've detached themselves from the system. That's why they think it's bureaucracy. So it's just our way of doing things. It's systematic, but they would have thought, one would have thought, I brought my things. I have paid money at the bank. I am just taking my goods away. So anything short of that, they call it bureaucracy. We have tax education. When we call them, nobody comes. The importers don't come. That's why we are very happy they have formed this association, so that when we can meet with the executives, whatever we want to tell them. Otherwise, you invite them, they will promise you they will come. Nobody will come.
He also asked importers and exporters to ensure they acquire all the necessary licenses and approvals from the various agencies to get their goods cleared in time. Reporting from the Tema Port, Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News.
Still at the Tema Port, officials of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority at the Tema Port are meanwhile calling for the deployment of more officers and logistics to enable them operate efficiently. They contend the 651 officers currently working there are not enough to effectively manage the 132 warehouses at the Tema Port.
We can do with about 50, 60 more, because we have about 132 warehouses. And ideally, every warehouse should have an officer. And we have about 80 free zones. Ideally, and we don't have that one. Now, an officer takes care of maybe 8 or 9 warehouses, which is not the best. Because while she's working here, the other people might call him from another warehouse and that sort of thing. We have serious challenge with personnel. Then the tools to work with. If they have this 132 warehouses, and we have only few vehicles that you have to go up and down with. Because if you have to, in a day, if I have to do declaration of 5 40-footer containers, it's a tedious work. And I want to do effective 100% examination. It's quite hectic. And just like Parks and Gardens stays their budget to finance and they cut it, that's how we also take our budget and they'll cut it according to the money available in Ghana.
In some other news, farmers across Africa are changing the way they farm. Factors driving these changes include new seeds, better inputs, more sophisticated crop calendars, outgrower schemes and climate change, among others. In light of these challenges, Isoko, with support from USAID and other partners, has developed an innovation which makes expertise available to any farmer in any part of the country with a simple phone call or text message. Mayan Ture reports on the launch of Africa's first dedicated farmer helpline in Accra.
About a year ago, Isoko, in partnership with USAID, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, and other partners developed Ghana's first farmer helpline to bridge the gap between areas where there are deficiencies in agriculture. The Isoko Farmer Helpline, which was launched today, provides expert advice to farmers in 12 local languages covering topics such as disease and pest, post-harvest issues, storage, use of pesticides and fertilizers, among others. Currently, 8 operators cover about 10 commodities in depth, with the aim to grow to 25 commodities by the end of the year. Before he officially launched the service, Jim Beaver, Mission Director USAID, lauded the program especially for its innovation, saying it puts Ghana on the map, being the first of its kind in the country and on the African continent.
This is really creative. It's very innovative. As I do understand, this is the first call center in West Africa that we're doing together, and that puts Ghana again on the map for this region. And my people in Washington watch what happens in Ghana. We learn from what happens in Ghana. We benefit from the Ghanaian brains mixed with the American brains to produce very creative, innovative approaches to alleviate poverty around the world. And
well, it's a rather unusual business story, probably taking a cue from recent prayers to stem the depreciation of the local currency. A group of fetish priests in the Nkranza South District, specifically the Bredi community of the Buahafu region, has interceded in the situation with an offer of spiritual sacrifice. The priests, numbering over 10, are also calling on the Muslim and Christian communities to join them in prayer. They believe that is the way Ghana can redeem itself from the current economic hardship hardship. They have also attributed the city's woes and economic hardship to the sins of the population. According to them, the president should not be blamed for the current happenings, rather his appointees and parliamentarians who they say are failing to help him.
Ghana nti sentina ye nanam sebe peduasa omunim kwan omofa so a omle chichiro omoman nti ama ye nanam kan starting se eduru afibia ese omobo empire anasa omoye amamre ye wa amamre ene wa amanne eso omoye amamre ankasa e de bo Ghana ho ban ene kura wo mu ene man a wo mu no omode bo ho ban ye ahokyere aye kom efa yesika sam ene bibia no eyade oman ba bia oman titiri oman bapa se e wo se hawo na awere hosam kakra wo mu ne se ebinom de yesunsum musem e de kaka se sunsum bi ena etwetwe sika ena eyese na abrofo no nso de na omo nso ekofem na utietie ma chese ba bia ye din.
Well, on that rather fetish note, we end the business news. I'm Abigail at Macquarie. Sports is up next.
News making round in the world of sports, and we definitely start with the Ghana Football Association because President of the FA, Kwesi Nyantakyi, will meet the CAF President Issa Hayatou on how to approach the World Cup alongside other FA chiefs who have qualified for the Mundial in Africa tomorrow in Egypt. President of the Confederation of African Football, Issa Hayatou, will host Ghana FA President Kwesi Nyantakyi in Cairo over the Black Stars' preparation for the World Cup tomorrow. Hayatou has lined up a meeting with leaders of all 5 countries representing Africa at the World Cup in June as he seeks to boost their confidence before the tournament in Brazil. Nyantakyi will be joined by presidents of the 4 other federations at this summer's FIFA World Cup at the special meeting in Egypt. Hayatou is expected to tax Nyantakyi and his 4 other counterparts from Algeria, Cameroon, Ghana and Ivory Coast on their team's preparations for the big event, which is scheduled to take place between June 12 and July 13th. No African country has made it to the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup in the past 19 editions. Certainly, we're still trying to answer the question of how we can get to Brazil to support the Black Stars. And the Millennium Supporters Union of Ghana say they are prepared to meet government halfway over the cost involved in going to Brazil to support the Black Stars at the 2014 World Cup. The supporters group and their meeting this afternoon confirmed they have resolved the financial issues in terms of feeding and internal transportation while in Brazil and would only need financial assistance in securing accommodation, flight and match tickets for the World Cup. Alhaji Guntu is president of the group and has been speaking to Joy Sports.
Oh, we know that this is World Cup. This is not Africa, AFCON. It is World Cup. I mean, the biggest football that has ever happened in the world. So, by all means, I don't think Ghana government will sit down and fold its arms that Ghana shouldn't go. Supporters, I know government will take supporters, but maybe because of the challenges in the economy, it is possible that government might not take plenty supporters there. So the few that government is ready to take, we are ready to accept whatever government is going to give to us.
Okay, so we keep on trying to innovate more ways, to ensure we get into Brazil. Though, let me quickly bring you up to speed what happened this afternoon, actually, in the First Capital Plus Premier League. 2 games were up for us. They are outstanding Week 17 fixtures. First of all, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, definitely after the heartbreak in the CAF Champions League, managed to beat Mijema SC by 1-0. It was a goal that had a lot of controversy around it in terms of who actually scored the goal. It's settled that Saidi Bansi, the striker of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, got that goal. But look at the other game. It was between a Dubiase and Dwarfs. And what happened there was that Dubiase beat them by 2-1 at the Robert Mensah Stadium. Despite having Professor Minter back, things certainly didn't work out. Let's quickly have a look at the table. Hasn't changed too much because there's still a number of games to go through. Kotoko still top there with 37 points. They open a 7-point gap right there before they play against the Busan Dwarfs on Sunday. They have Heart of Oak right there, Heart of Lions, Ash Gold, Wild Stars, Dubiase, Bechem United, Hezakias. We look at the final part of the table and it will be very instructive to find out where Busan Dwarfs find themselves. They're in the relegation bracket. Same could be said of Brecum Chelsea, Adriano Stars, who are all former champions of the Premier League. So it's very interesting. We'll find out how all these things are sorted out later on when the games come off on Sunday. That'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adi Jr. Israel will join us with some more. You have a good night.
Sports was multiple award-winning Ghanaian rapper Sarkodie has finally spoken out about rumors of an amorous relationship between himself and colleague Afro-pop singer Efia. A rather surprised Sarkodie says he had no idea a romantic link had been drawn between himself and the songstress.
Rumors about flings between celebrities is nothing new. For some time now, there have been suggestions that Ghana's fastest rapper Sarkodie and the Afro-pop sensation Efia both musicians have denied there is any romance ongoing between them. Just to be sure, Showbiz posed the question again when we caught up with Sarkodie at the Cupid party organized by colleague musician Raquel. He was rather surprised at the question.
No. We've never even dated before, but it was nice for a second for people to feel that way. It was a good feeling in a way. Just play with people and all. If Efia barely sees me, that's the messed up part. She doesn't even see me on a normal day, unless we're about to record. But I like the fact, I like her in general. She's a very nice person. I don't know if you know Efia. She's a free-hearted human being. You don't have to think twice when you're working with Efia. So I like to hang out with Efia. We don't know what the future holds, but I don't. For now, nothing is happening.
Right, we now bring you some Showbiz Lover economic analysis. Now, here is what I mean by that. In the light of the challenges in the economy, a young Christian male is urging women to be a lot bolder and propose marriage to men. Here is how he analyzes it.
My advice I'm to my youth in me, particularly say, even ya sorry moi, a man sorry, I'm say ya no more nyum. Aha. Ninyana say anytime fuel price be increased in Ghana now, it affect we guys our proposal rate. And my proposal rate in eco high. Aha, and like advice I'm be my new animal man to say uhu be man we need no ho fakotu nanim koka aha ukoka minji ni say even asori sofo bia bebo asen da bi omo mbo ho nsen aha se na obema kan e ma ware de no sa so na oba so kan e be ma aware so e de se na be ade so ana anko amma ya anko brebebre aha
na proposal rate na CHS
aha proposal rate ni kire se ukosi oba pe aha west na obeka no aha enne ko high no suwo hu ebia na me be pewa me kan kire wo se o oba manage ho ana sese ebia o high me fe da bi eno no fuel price increase pe na che se me increase me ma west no so ko nanim aha increase.
Right, that's it for Showbiz. Before we go, a recap of our top stories. Ghana Health Service worried about a possible outbreak of disease as a result of the water shortage in Accra. Cautions public to ensure they treat their water before use. 3 dead in Galamsey pit collapse in Ashanti region. Ashanti Kingdom to impose ban on drumming and funerals for close to 2 months ahead of 15th anniversary of Otumfuo Tutu II. Deaf and dumb at Bechem School in silent demonstration over claims they are not being fed by the authorities. And fetish priests offer spiritual sacrifice to redeem the country's currency and economy. That'll be all for the bulletin. My name is Delali. Have a good evening.